Hey guys, Assalamu alaikum. Since we are in social isolation and physical isolation, um, I just had enough of the boredom and want to start doing something constructive. I actually wanted to build a model uh, of a building, but I can't get the materials that I want, and because it consists of plywood and balsa wood, and you can't buy balsa wood or plywood without seeing it in person, making sure the sheets that are available, they're straight and the grain is fine. It's not something you can buy it online, so I'm gonna delay that. And what I'm showing to you is these are the two Concorde models that I have for longest time. They're 100 scale models, and the front one is a British Airways Concorde, and the one in the back is Air France Concorde, and both of these models need restoration. So as you can see, there's a bit of a damage on British Airways Concorde. Paint gel coat has been stripped from this LA1 here. Tail cone is missing. It's a bit damaged. You can see it in the Air France bird, how the tail cone is on it. And same goes for the nose. You can see the nose on the Air France, how nicely and pointed it is. But if I show you the BA one, it's damaged, you know. So this needs to be fixed, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna restore these models, and before I do that, I got myself some custom made decals. These are the water slide decals in three different liveries. Actually, I'm gonna pull them out and show them to you. The first one is gonna be on this guy here. That's the Air France bird, and Air France painted their Concorde in mid-90s in a beautiful special livery of Pepsi, where the whole aircraft, the fuselage was nicely painted in very special blue. Wings were white because of the heat resistance, and it was a beautiful livery, special livery on a Concorde. Concorde did had a couple of special liveries, but the other ones weren't that great, except for the one that I'm going to mention to you. So this bird is going to be wearing Pepsi Concorde livery. And here is another one, and you can see I'm just having a hard time pulling this out. It will come out eventually. Okay, and so here it is. You can see Singapore Airlines tail and a British Airways tail, and these tails are this livery is from the 80s. You also will notice there's a British and American registration, both of them together, and the reason being, back in early 80s, Singapore Airlines leased a Concorde from British Airways, which they wanted to run flights in Singapore, and they were testing the aircraft out. So for that, uh, aircraft was painted half in Singapore colors, and the other half was left in British Airways 80s Landor livery. I think that was a Negus livery, not the Landor. Sorry about that. So the first portion, you can see the Negus British Airways livery from 80s, and then you will see the Singapore tail and a British tail. So on the left side, she will have a Singapore Airlines livery. There's a stripe that goes across the fuselage, then the titles of Singapore Airlines, right where the British Airways, and the tail will be Singapore. And on this side here, on the starboard side, she's gonna be finished in and British Airways Negus livery from the early 80s, and that's the original livery that the Concorde wore. So this is what it is, and you can see beautiful details. These are the landing gear door decals. These are the maintenance access panel decals that goes underneath the nose. windshield, Snigma, Rolls-Royce Snigma decals, some details for the engines, and these are the stripes that go underneath the wing. It's kind of like a leading edge boot, but not really, but it kind of serves a similar purpose. These are again landing gear doors and main door decals. Now these are custom made decals, guys. A friend of mine named Jim Botitis with JBot Decals, he did these, and he did amazing job. As you can see, his detail work is very detailed, and it's right down to the 100 scale. So he uses really good high quality pictures. He uses actual Concorde drawings to make his artwork, and scale them down to the exact scale that you need. And it's amazing, I mean, that the work he does. And here's the tail, and you can see how the shading is changing from lighter to darker, and same. And this is kind of a half crescent, like quarter crescent, or a shape like that, because that tail had a really peculiar shape to it. So here it is, and you guys may want to see the stripes, and let's pull the stripes out. And here are the stripes. These are Singapore Airlines stripes. So she's going to be wearing them on the left side. This bird here, she's going to be in half is going to be British Airways, half is going to be Singapore Airlines, and it will have a British and American registration. Now you must be thinking, okay, the aircraft is half Singaporean, half British Airways, then the registration is American on it and British. The reason why, because during that time when she was leased to Singapore, in between that era, there were times when Braniff International Airlines, one of the 80s American airlines, wanted to test the aircraft out too. So when the aircraft was painted and it went to US, it wore American Nancy registration and also a British registration. So it was a very unique project, and for that a very special livery was, I mean, the registration was applied on the Concorde, because initially this Concorde wore Golf, Bravo Alpha, Bravo Oscar Alpha Delta GBOD, and now you can see the registration on it is Nancy 94AD. So that Nancy, the N right here, is the American part of it. So there was a collaboration between the British Civil Aviation Authority and FAA, and they came up with this registration. So this unique livery is this livery is going to be very unique. This model is going to be very unique model, and especially in 1/100 scale, because I don't think I've seen any other Concorde model in this scale ever, wearing both Singapore and British Airways colors, and with the American and British registration on it. So like I said, that I'm ordering some material. I'm ordering white paint for both of these models. Since I don't have the airbrush right now, I'm going to use the spray bombs. I'll probably pick them up from Canadian Tire and get an Arctic white, very white paint for both of these models. And then I'm gonna pick a blue for the Pepsi colors, because that blue was very different. That was a very unique blue, and the closest color that I ever could get for that blue, the shade was extra models, extra colors, Sabina blue for Sabina Airlines. That was the closest match I could get, because I could never get exact color coding for the Pepsi blue. If somebody knows that color coding, or could help me out with exact match, I would really appreciate that. So here it is. I'm ordering some sandpaper also. I'll start off with I'll get a grit 250 and a grit 400 and grit 600 and 800 papers, because initially she's going to be all sanded down, because these models are resin models, so I don't want to go right down to the resin part of it, but I'm gonna sand off all these decals and everything. And before I do that, I'm gonna fix the nose with the Bondo, and same with the tail cone. And so if you can see, there's a bit of a, I don't know if you guys can see or not, but let me show you closely or turn this around. You see there's a bit of a small hole there, and there used to be a pin that used to stick out, and the resin was around the pin to make that nice tail cone, just like that, because this guy has a pin inside there too. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bit of it sticking out, and that's the guide to make the pointed nose. So I'm gonna do that with the Bondo and the pin, and hopefully it'll all stay together, and she won't get damaged again. I bought this model maybe about 13 years ago, back when I was building my 1/12 scale giant scale radio control flying model of a Concorde. So this model was initial model that helped me out with the measurements and everything, and since then I've kept it. But she was loaned to a friend of mine, and his son actually tipped it over and broke the nose, but kids are kids, so I'm gonna repair that. I was thinking to send it to Atlantic Models to get the job done, but I'll just do it myself. But here with the Air France Concorde, what's gonna happen again? She's gonna get all sanded down, because you can see the white is all yellowed, and the Air France Concordes are pure white, Arctic white. And so it's gonna initially it's gonna get sanded down, and this is I believe it's a clear coat on the top of the white, which has turned yellow and aged. So once I sand the whole model down, from front to the back and from top to bottom, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sand down these engine nacelles, because they're painted really nicely, and it's a gunmetal gray, and I prefer that gunmetal gray to replicate the back halves of the engine nacelles for the Concorde, and the thrust reversal buckets. And the thrust reversal buckets are molded right in this mold right here, and you can see its shape. You can see how they are, and I'll bring it close to the camera here. So they're very nicely molded. I mean, this is not a perfect scale model, but it's a very good model. And I'll add more details to it, like the fairings on the tail, because both sides has rudder fairings for the controls that used to stick out, and then they put the fairings on it. And these strakes right here, these will be thinned down, because if you look at it from the top, they're quite big, quite large for 1/100 scale. So I'm gonna shave them down a bit, and bring them right down to the scale. So that's my project. These two guys are my projects, and I intend to work on these and finish these off. I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks, whatever it takes. But this is what I'll be working on, and I will make small videos and show it to you guys how the videos are, and go step by step. And so hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and if you guys like the video, please don't forget to subscribe on my channel, YouTube channel, and click on the bell icon, so you guys can get all the details as I progress through this restoration project of these two models. Alright guys, take care, have a safe day. Hopefully everybody's well, and everybody's isolating and keeping this COVID-19 pandemic away from us. And I mean, unfortunately, that's how the things are, so might as well make use of the time. Take care guys, bye bye.